The hour of 5 o'clock having arrived, I'd like to call to order the agenda of the regular board meeting in Vallecitos Water District. And I will lead the pledge. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's roll call, please. And note that we are all present. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
Yeah, you were going to make a comment about the removal of that one item?
In the consent calendar, yes.
Okay. No additions.
No additions. Need a motion to adopt the agenda for February 1st?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Eric, vote. And the vote passes unanimously. Public comments? We have any public comments?
I don't believe we have any. Oh, we do have one? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we have one?
For the consent calendar, 1.2.
This is the consent calendar, right?
Item 1.3.
Yeah, but that's not public comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, no general public comments.
No general public comments. All right, very good. Presentations.
I think Chris is going to take that one for us.
So thank you, General Manager Pruim and President Hernandez, board members. So tonight we have some awards we'd like to share with you. We have some winners from the California Water Environment Association, CWEA, San Diego section. We have Dale Austin. He's the Mechanical Technologist of the Year. And then we also have the whole collections crew for Collections Crew of the Year for the San Diego section. And with the, yeah, everybody stand up.
There we
All
are.
of them.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Collections crews and Dale all, you know, shy and not necessarily wanting to have to come up and take photos. But the one thing I will share is we have a video that Alicia put together as part of the award package. And that's what I'd like to share with the board of directors. So I am going to hopefully be able to play these videos, and we will start off with Dale's video, and it should be working. I worked with Jonathan, but if I have some issues, we will give it a second go. So that's Dale, and this is the award video that was submitted for Dale for CWEA. So Dale helps us with interactions with San Diego County Water Authority, where they're doing Faces of the Water Industry, Hero of the Week through Water News Network. He also did some videos with us. Dale was also in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Navy, and so it was Veterans Day, and he performed with us for that. So he's been a boon not only to the district, but to the public information staff, and I appreciate his help in making the district look good.
Thank you very much. Great job, great video.
And if I can add, so we had an opportunity today, several staff members and Director Grosset went out on a field review today to check out our facilities as part of the orientation. We had the opportunity to stop by lift station number 1, and Dale kind of led the tour, and he's an amazing ambassador for this district. You couldn't ask for a better employee and a guy who really loves the place he works. And I guess I'll let Director Grosset speak to that too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dale, for making my first tour as special as it was. There's people that you meet and instantly know that they are just exceptional at what they do, and it comes across clearly that you are one of the greatest here. So I very much appreciate your welcome, and it was a great tour overall, and thank you again, Dale, for your sincerely amazing work that you do here.
Thank you very much. Item next.
So the next item is that we have the collections crew, and I believe I'm sharing. Yeah, I'm sharing. And this is for the entire collections crew and their award from the San Diego section and how they protect the coastline and our community at large. So this is the collections crew video that Alicia created. So you also got to see Raul and Matt, who were faces of the water industry. And then I would really be remiss if I didn't point out that both Ed Pedrazi and Justin, the supervisor, had to do a lot of research and collect a lot of data for the actual award submittal. It wasn't just the video that we submitted, but a lot of detail. And from what I understand, staff from CWA, the state section, will be coming to interview our staff, and we're hoping to win at the state level, but this is our victory at the local level.
Well, congratulations, everyone. Nice job, great video.
Could we get a group picture? Would the board be
I'm
to?
up for it. Fair?
Yeah.
We can all come down.
Okay.
Maybe one picture with Dale.
Yeah.
And I think Dale has his wife here too, if she wants to get in the picture. And then we can
Perfect.
do one with the collections crew and anybody they brought with them. I know Dale loves this kind of stuff.
You guys cleaned up?
You didn't coordinate that with me, Ed. Yeah.
They all changed to their civvies, so that's it. Oh, there won't be any pictures. So.
Yeah.
For your service.
Manly man. Jason obviously gets in the middle, right?
Congratulations. Very good. Yeah, we're gonna do this.
You're all gonna have to scoot in a little bit.
Soccer style, have a
Yeah.
you guys gonna have to
Might have
overlap
a-
shoulders. Overlap shoulders.
There we go. Not at all.
Very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Very good. Job well done.
Sorry to put you guys on the spot.
Unless you want to stay.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on, the consent calendar. We are going to be removing from the consent calendar item 1.5. It'll be in the future agendas. And I have a request to speak on 1.3, position reclassification, HQ.
Don't we vote on the removal?
Well, let's hear what the gentleman has to say, and then we can vote.
No, actually, I'm here on behalf of the Employees Association of Vallecitos, and we're actually going to decline to speak at this time.
Very good, thank you very much. That being the case, entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Point of order, Mr. President?
Yes,
Don't we have to vote on the removal of the item and then approve the consent calendar?
Yes.
I'm sorry, thank you very
Standing, there's an
much.
item, is there an item that staff's removing?
We need a motion for that?
We just pull it from consent.
Just pull it, yeah.
Okay.
We can approve consent
Which we try
calendar.
to
I think that, I
Wow.
think that's what I said. All right, we're just gonna.
Staff has requested that item 1.5 be pulled from the agenda and from the consent, so there won't be any action on it today.
Very good. Then I need a motion to approve the consent calendar item with the removal of 1.5.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Moving on to action items. 2.1, fiscal year tactical plan initiative status report.
Yeah, I'll take that, President Hernandez. So the board may remember that we adopted a strategic plan, and then every year we have a tactical plan to implement the strategic plan. And I'm here to provide a status update on how we're coming along on our tactical plan 23 status. So there we have it shared. So can I move these? Yeah, I'm gonna have to just get you to bump up.
Should have control.
Yeah, I tried and it didn't do anything. All right, thanks, James. So the strategic plan that we adopted back in 2022 had 6 strategic focus areas, so we're keeping on with those, and I won't go through these in any details, James. So attached, showing here is just the table of contents from the original strategic plan, giving more details on those 6 strategic focus areas, and each strategic focus area had a strategy, a supporting strategy within it. So anywhere between 3 and 4 strategies supporting each strategic focus area. The tactical plan, we want them to be SMART goals, and that stands for, it's an acronym, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. It's a pretty standard acronym. You want to make sure that you're making good goals. So I'll go through them real high level here, just to tell you where we're at on the status. So these are the 16 tactical plan initiatives for strategic focus area number 1, and that's title of SFA 1 is infrastructure integrity. So we, to this point in time, and so this is a fiscal year basis, so it started in July 1 and it ends June 30th of this year. So to date, in this year, we've completed 31% of these 16 items. We believe, and 100% are either complete or in progress. And we think all tactical plan initiatives in strategic focus area number 1 will be completed by the end of the fiscal year, which is good. Just to highlight a few of those maybe, the 4th one down is the Sage Canyon tank refurbishment. That was a water storage tank that was in pretty bad shape. We had to take it offline, out of service, and it caused some significant operational impacts, and Director Grosset heard about some of those today. Happy to say that it's all the repairs are done and it's back in service, so that's a good thing. 5th from the bottom, just to highlight the asset management plan. The future of this organization is asset management. We want to make sure that all the assets and inventory that we have are well maintained. So several years ago, we put together an asset management team, and now we're putting together an asset management plan. So that plan is in progress right now, and we believe it will be completed by the end of this year, so that's really good. We performed some district-wide leak detection, and that project is complete. So we worked in cooperation with the San Diego County Water Authority to try to find out if there's any water main leaks in our service area. And the last one on the strategic focus area one I'd like to highlight is the Montiel lift station. So this is an old lift station, probably 40-plus years old at this point in time. It was intended to be a really short-term solution, and here we are 40 years later, and we're in the process of reconstructing that, replacing that facility, extending the force main, and doing a lot of other associated work. So, and that should be, I don't know if it'll be fully completed by the end of June, but we like to think it will be. So we'll be there. All right, moving on to the next one.
Question?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a question on this focus area on the MRF conversion to sodium hypochlorite. I was wondering where we're at on that, and I'd particularly like Ed to be able to sleep better at night. So.
Yeah, so let's have Ed come up and talk about that if you want.
Jason, really?
Okay.
Give an update.
I was going to give Ed a chance to defend himself.
I need to sleep.
Yeah, we definitely want Ed to sleep better at night, but yeah, so we're still moving forward with that project. It's still in design. We're taking, as you remember, board action was, we had an amendment to do some additional studies to make sure that we're really sizing the project properly for the flow that's going to be intended. So design is on course, and the tactical initiative is not to have the conversion completed by the end of the fiscal year, but we're going to have the design completed by the end of the fiscal year. As you know, most of the CIP projects, they're multi-year, so we have milestones that we're trying to accomplish.
So
by the end of the
what's the
fiscal
end
year.
date for construction or finishing the project?
So construction's probably going to be in the next fiscal year. So if we can get the design completed this fiscal year, then we can get it advertised out to bid, and we assume that project's going to take about 9 to 12 months.
Okay, thank you.
Is that design in-house that we're doing, or?
No, we're doing that with a consultant.
Yeah, that's Director Olitharp, there's a column or two missing in here, so just because the title says one thing, it doesn't mean that the whole project is going to be complete. So when we break these down, we'll have more detail. It'll say, hey, in the first year of the tactical plan for the sodium hypochlorite conversion, we want to get the project design. And then the second year, we want to get it advertised and initiate construction, that type of thing. So when it says complete, don't always think it means the project is done, but that phase that we committed to, we had limited real estate to share on what was actually committing to, but happy to answer any more detailed questions. Thank you for that one.
One question, not on that one, but on that. Water leak detection, I mean, it says completed. How often are we doing that? Because I know you do a water leak detection today and tomorrow it could start leaking. So how?
Yeah, so this was a big, I'll let Jason talk about it in more detail, but this was a big effort that we had never done before. But there's other efforts that we're going to undertake to make sure that our system is as tight as possible, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategies and leak detection, acoustic, and and this particular one was we were using some, I can't remember the special radar, but it was basically ground penetrating radar from satellites that were basically taking scans of the entire county, and then based on that, they're searching for moisture-laden soil is what they're looking for, and then based on that, then we kind of funneled that into some on-field leak detection, acoustic leak detection. So actually going to the meter boxes, lifting them up, connecting, and listening for leaks. So it's more focused as opposed to just, 22,000 some odd connections. It's hard to just start on one and go to the other. So this gave us a little bit more of a target. The results weren't as productive as we thought, but it was a good experience for the cost. I think it cost about $48,000. We got a $17,000 grant. It's just part of our commitment to really look at emerging technology, where it's practical, where it's feasible, where it's economical. Can we look at these pilot types projects and continue to look for leaks, because that is something that is important.
And just to add to that, it's actually a very positive result in my opinion, because it shows that our system is very well maintained and we have very few leaks, because they were really, you start with the big picture, they drill down to here's your possibilities, and when they drill down in the field, almost every single leak they found was on the property side, not on the district side. So.
Very good, very good. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to strategic focus area number 2, and this is for organizational improvements and efficiencies. We had a total of 9 tactical plan initiatives, 22% complete to date. 89% are either complete or in progress as of today, and we think all but one will be completed by the end of the year. So just as a general comment, if any of these tactical plan initiatives are not completed by the end of this year, they will automatically roll into the following year, in addition to other tactical plan initiatives we have proposed for that following year. So you can see each year they get laden up as we go forward. Just a couple I want to highlight, and happy to answer any questions, but fourth one down, the SCADA upgrade project, phase 2. SCADA is our supervisory control and data acquisition, really important. That's how we communicate and control our facilities remotely. It's a multi-phase process. We have work that we're continuing to do, but this phase 2 has been completed. And 2 below that is the DHS, that's the Department of Homeland Security upgrades for critical infrastructure hardware. That's to make sure we don't get any hackers getting into our system, either through SCADA or other ways. So that one's in progress, and we're not sure if it'll be completed by the end of the year. That's why the projected status, the far right column, still says in progress. And I tried to get staff to limit to the 3 choices in filling out these boxes were either we didn't initiate it, it's in progress, or it's completed. So if you think you're underway on something, but you don't think you'll get it done by June 30th, you still show it as in progress. And again, it'll roll over to the following year to wrap it up. So any questions on that?
Any questions?
Yes.
Item number 2. The public record request submission and tracking software. Is that something we're doing in-house, or is our legal firm helping us with that?
I believe it's something we're doing in-house, but everything we do with public records involves conversations with BBK, but I don't think we're not getting any hardware or software from them. So Jim, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. So.
Yes, I think this is a district internal tracking for the requests coming in and responses versus our ARC process, which actually does assist with the processing in responding to the requests.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we always coordinate when we get a public records request, we log it, and then we start to compile the records, but we do it in conjunction with Best and Krieger. We say, is this something we have to produce? And if so, is there information that needs to be redacted or withheld in some way? So it's a lot of involvement with BBK, but we do the tracking internally. All right, strategic focus area number 3, workforce excellence. A total of 14 tactical plan initiatives. 14% complete to date, and 43% are either complete or in progress. And we're big stretch, but we think all of these will be done by June 30th. So just to highlight a few, the 5th one down is the conduct negotiations with employee association for a successor MOU. We're right in the middle of this, right? The board had a closed session about that, working with the employees in the board. So it's a big focus. So it's in progress. And we certainly want to be completed by the end of the year because our current MOU expires on June 30th. The item right below that is kind of hand in hand with the negotiations is to complete a compensation study, and we've already completed that effort, so that's good. And third from the bottom is to update the district succession plan. We haven't started on that yet. We've been busy with a lot of things, but we need to get focused on that because I think we've talked to the board before, 50% of your management team will be retired within 2 years. So we need to start planning, not just for the management, but throughout the organization. So any questions on those? And I'm just highlighting a few. There's obviously a lot of items on here.
Is this time to ask what one of these are?
I'm sorry?
What's a leave donation policy? I don't know what that is.
Oh, so every employee accrues leave, vacation leave, and some agencies have a policy where you can donate leave to somebody who may be sick, has run out of sick or vacation, and you can donate your leave to a bank or to an individual. So we're going to look and see what the best practices are, and then come back eventually through probably a policy committee and then up to the board to see if it's something the board is interested in doing.
Thank you. And the Smith system?
It's just
a safety?
It's a system for safe driving, basically, but it's a particular system known as the Smith system.
Thank you.
All right. Number 4. So this is the strategic focus area for fiscal responsibility. 16 tactical plan initiatives, 13 already complete. We think 75% or 75% are either complete or in progress. And we're shooting for, we think about 63% will be completed by the end of the fiscal year. Just to highlight a few, the second one down, the reclaimed water agreement. As you know, we produce recycled water here, and we sell it to either Carlsbad or Livenhain. We have recycled water agreements with them. It's an old agreement, or they are old agreements, so we're working with those two parties to update those agreements to reflect more current conditions. So we've been working on that for some time, and we're hopeful that by the end of this fiscal year, we'll be done with that. Kind of in the middle of the page, there's it says expand North Star and Maximo integration to improve efficiencies. These are two software programs we use extensively. They don't talk well together, so it creates secondary inefficiencies. So this whole effort is to see, can we find a way to get these to work better? We're working on it now. Not sure if we'll be done by the end of the year. Probably not. We'll make good progress, but it won't be fully integrated and implemented by the end of the year. And again, it'll be the final stage will roll over into next year. And
Question.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
On that particular item you just discussed, is the North Star system the finance system?
Yeah, it's mostly our customer records for the billing records, or so we put in the water bills and everything.
Yeah, this is a common problem with our business, is getting these different systems to talk to each other, and particularly with the ramping up of asset management. I've seen this in a number of instances.
Yeah, so you end up getting these kind of piecemeal programs to satisfy a particular need, and then as time goes on, you say, God, I wish those would work together.
Share data.
Because the work I did in the field, I want to share that information with the financial management system so I know the cost of my maintenance, and they don't talk well together. Sometimes you can put together an intermediary program to get pull data from one and put it in the other, and sometimes you can't. There are enterprise programs you can do, but those are very expensive. So we try to look at the cheaper solutions that we think will fit our needs, but sometimes you may just say, hey, we need to up the game. So I see a thought there. Middleware.
Yeah, that's the
thank you.
word for it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and the fifth from the bottom is develop a PERS funding target policy. So PERS is the Public Employees Retirement System, and there's a certain amount we have to pay to PERS. They tell us how well we have to be funded, but we've chosen to go above that and to try to be aggressive to pay it all off. But you're very dependent on the fluctuations in the stock market, so we need to work with the board and the finance committee to say, what should our target be, so that every year through the budgetary process, we know what we're shooting for. And it may not be our target may not be to get 100% funding, but we want to stay close to 100% funding. About a year ago, we actually were super funded for a while. The market was doing so well, our investments did well, we were super funded, and now we're not. The market came down. So that's why it's important to have a target so you know where you want to try to be, knowing that you're still at the mercy of the market. All right, number 5.
Can we just go back? I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The update reclaimed water agreement, is there flexibility to, for example, let's say, the water that we purchase from Livenhain, if they increase the rate per acre foot that we have to pay them, is there flexibility that we can increase our rate of water that we sell to Carlsbad? I'm just trying to figure out, is there fluctuation there? Is there a way that we can
So we don't
move those needles?
We don't buy any water from Livenhain for recycled water. We sell water. So all the water we sell to either Carlsbad or Livenhain.
Oh, it's selling of the recycled water
It's
to
the selling
both?
of our recycled water.
Okay, so we set those prices then? We have the
Correct.
opportunity to set those prices?
Yeah, and
Okay.
just the way the pricing structure is set, there's a lot of volatility and fluctuation,
Okay.
and it doesn't help them with their budgetary process. They want something that's more predictable.
Sure.
Now, having said that, we do buy water treatment services from Livenhain, but that's potable water, and this is all about recycled water.
Okay, that's what I was confused
Yeah, that's
about.
probably,
Okay, thank you.
easily understood.
Yeah, along with that, just curious, remind me, what's the percentage of what we reclaim to those two agencies versus our total flows, our total wastewater?
That's a great question.
I think we can recycle upwards of like 75% or 80% of our total flows, but it varies from time to time in the year. During the winter, we're not producing a lot of recycled water. There's not a lot of demand,
Do you
right?
know what we average in a year's time?
We have roundabout numbers. So they take a little bit over 3.5 MGD on average throughout the year, and we produce a little bit around 6.2 of sewer. So we generate 6.2 sewer, and we reclaim on average about 3.5. That's consumed by Carlsbad and
A little
Livenhain.
over half, yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, good questions. Number 5, public information and outreach. Let's see, we have a total of 8 tactical plan initiatives, 25% already complete, 63% are either complete or in progress already. And we only show 38% being completed by the end of the fiscal year, but that's because a lot of these are ongoing programs. So we may view that these never end. So for example, if I think the intern program is in here, that's a program that's going to continue to go on, so we may or may not view that as complete. So we'll track these, but I think we'll do better than that 60 or 38% by the time we're done. Just to highlight a few of those, the top one, the partner with Environmental Protection Agency, WaterSense, we create a series of videos and we partner with them, and we get amazing reaction from EPA and the people that view the EPA website. And it's nice when a little tiny water district in North San Diego County gets attention from the federal government. Yeah. So I think Chris and his team do an amazing job. We submit videos, we get awards for our videos. It drives a lot of traffic to our website when people want to see our videos, so it's really awesome. The one right below that is to develop a day in the life of videos for entry-level job classifications. We haven't started that yet, but Alicia Yerman is going to work her magic with her videos and try to show what maybe somebody who's interested in getting in the water and wastewater industry, what does a day look like? Not just on words or on a website, but a video. So we think it'll be a very interesting series, so we're going to start producing those. And once we get the idea pointed in the right direction, Alicia kicks the videos out pretty quickly. This is a good example of something that it says in progress by the projected status at the end of the year. This is something that's going to take us several years to get every position, not everyone, but all the entry-level positions, a video made. So it'll take several years, but we'll get several out this calendar year, or I'm sorry, this fiscal year.
That sounds like something that we could potentially partner with San Marcos Promise about and make sure that they have access to those videos so that they can show students.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. The last one I wanted to highlight here is the develop the landscape conversion materials and programs. It's in progress. It's probably still going to be a work in progress, but we're trying to develop materials which may include videos to help homeowners understand ways that they can convert their landscape to more drought tolerant, low water use things. So it's a big effort. Driving traffic to the site is problematic. You can make the best video in the world, but if nobody knows it's there, it doesn't help anybody much. So it's kind of a joint effort on that.
You guys want just the established bill consolidation best practices. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What are we trying to do? Because I thought we were trying to, correct me if I'm wrong, just bill for water, and we were thinking about putting our sewer on the tax bills, the assessments. Is that still an option? Is that something we discussed, or is
That's still an option. That's something we can discuss, and that's not what this is.
That's not, okay.
Right. So the bill consolidation, I think, came out of the issue we had with a homeowners association up in San Alejo Hills.
Oh, that's right.
Right, so they have multiple accounts, multiple meters, and they were getting all these individual bills. So they're
Okay.
saying, hey, can you put all these bills into one thing?
For associations
Yeah.
/ mobile home parks.
Any customer that has multiple meters is a candidate for this, right? They're probably one of the more extreme examples of an entity that has multiple meters, but we'll use that experience that we learned working with them to apply it more broadly and reach out to those customers that have multiple meters and say, are you interested in this? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're not. Maybe they like the way it is. The problem we found when we tried to consolidate them is they lost some of the granularity of the data, right? They would only get the total amount for a year, not the month-by-month breakdown. So we have to find a way where they don't lose the granularity of data that may help them better manage their water, but it still makes it easier to pay the bills, because that's what they were struggling with. I think San Alejo had 30-something meters or maybe 40 accounts. It was just a lot for them to manage. So they said, just send us one bill. It's like, yeah, but you want to know what's happening at each of those 40 locations, not just combined.
Okay, that's better.
So that's what this one's about. But yeah, that other, what you mentioned is still a viable option too.
Okay.
All right, strategic focus area number 6, environmental stewardship. 4 tactical plan initiatives, 25% already complete, and 100% are either complete or in progress, and we envision all of them being complete by the end of the year. The second item is the Meadowlark Reclamation Facility Direct Potable Reuse Feasibility Evaluation. This is basically looking at the technical study to see if you can take recycled water and clean it to the level of drinking water and mix it with your drinking water supplies. Always starts with a feasibility study. Can you get it done? Then you may go through pilot testing. So this is a long road. So this one, it says complete, but we're not going to be having direct potable reuse by the end of this year, but we may get the consultant on board or get a contract awarded. So it's those are the measurable steps, the SMART goals that we assign every year that we try to track. This is going to be probably a 10-year effort to get to where you're actually injecting direct potable reuse into your system. So be patient. And the last one I'll highlight is to develop an herbicide and pesticide best management practices. We are in progress on that, and we think it'll be complete. It's pretty close. We do apply pesticides and herbicides. We have facilities like this building. We have easements out there. So we have licensed pesticide and herbicide applicators. We just want to make sure we're doing it the right way. We're certified and everything, but are there best practices out there that we're not aware of? So that's it for that one. So James, if you can go one more, unless there's any questions on that.
Any questions?
67 total tactical plan initiatives identified for this fiscal year. The staff report says 64. We've actually added 3. We value added to each of you up there. 21% have been completed to date. 82% of those 67 we think will be completed by the end of the year. And 18%, those are the ones that will get rolled into the next year. So that's it. As I just want to share kind of a mid-year status update. We're making good progress. It's not, don't always expect that they're linear, that, oh, we're halfway through, we should be halfway completed. It doesn't always work that way. Each of these projects is moving along, but we're driving down to the 5 or 10 yard line, right? And it takes that last half a year to get it across the goal line. So, I'm sorry.
I do have a question. What is the plan for when we meet again with another retreat to come up with additional, I mean, I know you want to probably sit back and relax and enjoy the accomplishment of
Yes,
all of this great
yes,
work,
yeah.
because
Can't we just enjoy
this
the
is
victory?
this is a
Yeah.
stunning amount of work. So
Yeah.
congratulations. But I know that we have ideas and we have lofty goals. So is it in the plan third quarter or fourth quarter to sit down and think about
Yeah.
updating it?
Yeah,
I just wasn't sure what the timeline was
I
for
think
that.
that's a great idea. So most of this is staff-driven. We look at the strategic plan and the goals that you all put forward in the strategic plan, and then we brainstorm to say, what can we do to make that come to reality? You should get an opportunity to do that as well. I think that's a great idea. We can probably have some kind of a special session where we can brainstorm and we can walk through all these strategic focus areas and the supporting strategies, and you can give us your ideas. Sometimes we may need to modify them slightly, to put them in the jargon or the language. There may be regulations why we can't do it. I'm not saying that if you give us an idea, it's automatically on the sheet, but we'll certainly consider it. So, and yes, we'll probably be working on next year's as we get closer to the end of this fiscal year. So sometime before the end of the fiscal year, we can do something like that if the board would like.
Very good. Anything else? All right, seeing none, we're moving on to 2.2, water rates ordinance.
All right, maybe we'll give them a little cover fire while they're bringing this up. So the board may remember, I think back in, I want to say September, the board approved a 5-year rate structure. The first of those 5-year rate increases went into effect on October 1st, with the understanding that the 4 subsequent rate increases would take place on January 1 of subsequent years. We came back to the board in December to see if the board wanted to adopt new rates on January 1st, and the board said, no, let's wait. Let's let the customers absorb that first rate increase we just had in October. The direction from the board was come back in February. Here we are. So, and again, this is for the second of the 5-year rate increases that were included in the Prop 218 notice. So with that, Mike looks like he's all queued up, and I'm going to turn it over to him, but I'll probably make a few closing remarks, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, General Manager Prohm. President Hernandez, members of the board. Today, as General Manager Prohm discussed, we're here to provide updated water rates for 2023 for potential adoption. And then I just wanted to note that these are for water rates only. We are not proposing any changes to sewer rates. So quickly, I just wanted to review some of the acronyms we use. I reviewed this last time, but specifically for Director Grosset, in case we use some acronyms I wanted to kind of spell them out for us. So a COSS is the cost of service study. That's the report that our advisor, our consultant does for us. SCCWA, San Diego County Water Authority, I'll also say CWA or just Water Authority. SFR, it stands for the single family residence. The majority of our customers are single family residents. And when we talk about an average single family residence, we're talking about the customer that has a 5/8 or 3/4 inch meter that uses 13 units of water per month. And 1 unit of water is 100 cubic feet. And then the RTS is the readiness to serve. That's a fixed charge that's on your monthly bill. And IAC is basically the same fixed charge that the Water Authority charges us. It's an infrastructure access charge. It's charged per meter charge. So I wanted to take a step back real quick. When I got married, our pastor, when he was doing his long speech, he said, if anyone wanted to take a time to take a nap, now's the time. So as I'm going over this, feel free to take a nap if you'd like to. So the cost of service study process, and I'll do it as a high level, and if you have any questions, please stop me along the way. So it all starts out with the financial planning, or the budget, as you will. So during the budget process, we want to make sure that we have adequate cash reserves, that we have appropriate debt service coverage ratio, and that we have enough to fund our replacement and rehabilitation for our capital projects. And those projects are not for growth projects, they're not developer projects, they're all for existing infrastructure that we have. So from there, it establishes what's called our revenue requirement. And approximately, our revenue requirement is approximately anywhere from $48 to $50 million. So what that does is through this cost of service study, it gets allocated to different customer classes depending upon their demands that they put on the system. And there's a lot of things that we have to follow along with Prop 218 that I'll go into in a minute. So we want to make sure we're definitely in with compliance with Prop 218. From that, on September of last year, we did approve a 5-year rate structure. So again, what is the cost of service study? Like I mentioned, it's the alignment of the amount of water rates or revenue collected, or our revenue requirement, from customers with the demands that they impose on the system. So make sure everyone pays their fair share. So we don't want to have subsidies from one class to another. So I wanted to go over the calendar. This actually the process started probably early April of 2021, but because of COVID and other issues, it got delayed and elongated. But basically, we've had several meetings with the Finance Committee, board workshops. The important dates I wanted to notice is that part of the Prop 218, we have to mail out a notice of public hearing, and it's a 45-day notice. That was mailed out in August of last year, which set the public hearing for September 28th, which is at the time when the board approved the rate structure for this 5 years. The new rates for 2022 went into effect on October 1st. Initially, they were planned to go into effect January 1st of 2022, but as the delays that I mentioned pushed that back to October 1st. We had a board meeting.
January 23.
I'm talking about for last year. The ones that went into effect on 10/1 were really originally going to be into effect January 2022. So the ones for 2023 we'll get to in a moment. We went and had a meeting on December 14th of last year that we talked about the preliminary rates, and that's the time that the board approved to delay it until today. So that's where we are today, the board meeting today, talking about the recommended rates for 2023. What were some of the things that were adopted with this cost of service study structure? There's some things that we're doing a little bit differently. So the cost of service study that was adopted on September 28th, it approved the 5-year methodology. Now, it did not approve the rates for the full 5 years. The rates still need to come back to the board every year and be approved, and that's what we're here for today for the second year of the 5 years. So it's really a methodology, and it also sets some caps that I'll talk about in a moment. It included some pass-through charges. Now, our biggest cost is our cost for purchased water. It's 70% of our costs approximately. So it approved some some pass-through charges from the San Diego County Water Authority as well as our internal pass-through costs. And it set caps and limits on the amount of pass-through that we can collect. For the Water Authority, the limit is 6.5%. So if they were to increase their commodity rates by 10%, by this action, we're limited to 6.5%. We included drought rates to be put on the rate schedule. There's no proposed implementation for drought rates at this moment, and if we were to, it would actually have to be a separate board action that we would take and get approved. And the implementation is to be no sooner than January 1st annually. So let's go over our ready-to-serve charges. As I mentioned, we have some pass-through charges, and our ready-to-serve is broken down into three components. There's the San Diego County Water Authority pass-through, the IAC, the Infrastructure Access Charge pass-through, and our own internal VWD meters and billing pass-through. That achieves our total rate of $37.07 that's current for our fixed charges. And I'm only showing the 5/8 meter charges because that's our baseline, but every other meters is like a ratio of, so it's a multiple of. So if these rates go up 2%, every meter size would go up about 2%. For our commodity charges, there's also the pass-through, the San Diego County Water Authority pass-through. And we also have 3 tiers, by the way. They're inclining block tiers. For our average single-family residence, Tier 1 is 0 through 6 units. Tier 2, I believe, is 7 through 21 units, and Tier 3 is 22 units or more. So with that, as I mentioned, there's the San Diego County Water Authority pass-through, which is the majority of our cost. We have our VWD internal costs at 11 cents for Tier 1. And then we have what's called the discretionary offsets. Now, we can't subsidize a particular class or particular rates, but we can use discretionary revenue. Discretionary revenue is such things as property taxes. And we have about $2.7 million in property taxes that when we approved the cost of service study back in September of last year, the board approved allocating those $2.7 million to try to offset some of the costs to Tier 1 and Tier 2 customers. And I want to point out that the offset for Tier 1 and Tier 2 actually benefits all customers. So a person that's in Tier 3, they have to go through Tier 1 and Tier 2 to get to Tier 3. So it's benefiting basically everybody. So what are the pass-through increases? For San Diego County Water Authority, their fixed component went up about 2.4%. Their IAC, the Infrastructure Access Charge, is remaining the same. Now, their commodity increase was about 7.2% for the year.
Mike, I'm sorry, I have a question on the Water Authority fixed rates.
Yes.
What was the reasoning for a separate IAC? A little bit of history on that?
I don't know the exact history. I do know that it is a per meter charge, and it's specific to how many meters the district has. I don't know the history. I can get it for you.
Okay, thanks.
Can I interrupt real quick? So I guess we heard from the public that are having trouble accessing the meeting remotely, so we're going to pause for a second. Jonathan's going to make sure it's unlocked.
All right, very good. Take a pause, folks.
Before, when I'd have to go back and forth, it's kind of messy to forward through 5 slides. So that one, you can click it and I'll give you a slide to 11, and then it'll bring me back to slide 9.
Oh, wow. Is that like Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Still didn't answer the question, why is it an umbrella though? Could have been anything.
Water, I don't know.
Okay.
Been raining a lot.
When people put proficient in the office suite, they don't really mean it. He means it.
Yeah.
We're good now.
We're good? All right.
Are we good?
Thanks for your indulgence. Director Pennick took a little break. If you want to wait or just have us move on, let us know.
Oh, yeah, we'll give him a couple of minutes.
He underestimated Jonathan's efficiency.
Yeah, well, Jonathan's pretty good at what he does. Mike, while we were talking, did you see a unit of water was 100 gallons?
100 cubic feet.
100 cubic feet?
748 gallons.
48, there we go.
Oh, we don't have that.
Yeah, we
No,
don't have
we
our
don't have it.
graphic.
Up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is awkward.
Where'd Jim go? He was just restroom?
Yeah, they just restroom.
Do we have members of the public who have joined?
What's that?
No, I just looked, I think it was, we had one additional person join.
I jumped in real quick on my phone.
Oh, that's all it is.
There's three on.
Matthias likes to do sanity checks as well and verify that things are working.
Good. We have no public that's joined through Zoom at this point.
Very good. All right, let's continue.
So I'll restart this slide. I'll restart this slide then. So the San Diego County Water Authority fixed component increased 2.4%. The IAC remained flat. It's $4.24 per meter. And the commodity charges went up 7.2%, about 7.2%. As I mentioned, per board action, the amount that we can pass through is capped at 6.5% annually. That's for the San Diego County Water Authority portion. For the VWD portion of the increase, our internal increases only went up 2.95%. I should have changed this to 2.82. We talked about it last time. When we apply the 2.95% to our internal costs, it comes up to millipennies, and we can't charge, we only charge in full dollars and cents. So we have to round down. So when the actual increase comes through, it's at 2.82%. So I believe on a future slide, you'll see 2.82%. It's a rounding issue. And we always round down and give benefit to the customer. So what does this mean for our rates? Our applying all these factors to the different components of the rate structure, for our commodity portion, our tier 2 would increase by 27 cents per unit. Our tier 1 would increase by 27 cents per unit, the tier 2 by 30 cents per unit, and tier 3 by 42 cents per unit from our current rates. That's our commodity portion. The fixed portion would increase from $37.07 to $37.99. It's 92 cents. So what does that mean to our average single-family residence that we talk about? So our current bill with that average single-family residence using 13 units of water is $94. Of that, about $22 is the VWD portion of it, and the San Diego County Water Authority portion of it is the majority of it, of $72. Applying these factors that I mentioned, the VWD portion will go up to $22.61, the Water Authority portion to $76.09 for a total bill of $98.70. It's an increase of $4.64 or $4.93. And as you can see, of the $4.64, a little over $4 of that is the pass-throughs from the Water Authority. Oops. So the average, if we didn't have that cap, remember the commodity portion went up 7.2%. If we didn't have that cap of 6.5%, the average single-family resident their bill would be $99.09. A $5.03 increase. It's a difference of 39 cents. So the district would be paying that out of reserves of 39 cents per customer per month. So in addition to calculating all the rates, we look at other agencies within our district. So there's 24 agencies. I think I have 23 listed. I think one of them is Camp Pendleton that the other thing I wanted to do is put this all in perspective. I wanted to give a show what the CPI has been over the last 12 months, actually the last 24 months. So the CPI from December 21 to December 22 was 7.3%. And the previous 12 months before that, December to December, was 6.35%. So that's 24 months of over 6% increase. And then how does that relate to other agencies? So I did a rate survey. I believe I did it. It says December 14th. It was actually January. It was actually yesterday that I updated this data. So the average bill within San Diego County region is almost $115. VWD, we with this proposed increase would go from $94.06 to the $98.07. That $4.64 increase, or $4.93. The average increase from 2022 to 2023 of all the agencies surveyed was $7.18, or a 6.2% increase. One agency, their rates are going to go into effect, I believe, July 1st. I did include them in here. Their rates went up 29%. Another agency went up 15%. We mentioned the city of San Diego, not this year, starting next year, will be an 18% over 2 years. So there are a lot of double-digit increases coming up.
Who was 29?
That was Santa Fe Irrigation District.
It used to be below us.
Yeah.
And that's because they rely heavily on Lake Hodges water, and there's no water behind Lake Hodges anymore, so.
So these incorporate all the known increases that are out on the websites. So the timing and recommendations, so the Prop 218 notice allows for rate adjustments annually on January 1st. As we mentioned, we came back in December and said, hey, let's postpone it until February 1st or February. So that's where we are today. So the recommendation then is to implement new rates for 2023 on March 1st for bills mailed out after March 31st. And with that, I would entertain any, real quick too, the impact on reserves of delaying. If we were to delay already March 1st, because we're delaying it from January to March, it'd be about $289,000, the cost of delay of the increase from January to March. We did receive a refund, that third installment of the MWD refund. I believe it was for $375,000. So that could be partially used to offset to mitigate some of this loss in revenue.
Yeah, and just as a reminder to the board, for the first two refunds that we got from the Water Authority, we actually rebated those to our customers directly. So they all got a credit to their bill. We're proposing a different approach here, that we don't directly send a rebate back to the customers or give them a credit on their bill, but we keep the rate increase lower. Well, actually, we deferred the rate increase. So we'll keep the rate increase where we thought it would be, but we delayed it by 2 months. So that delay is, if you go back to those numbers, it's going to cost the district $289,000, but that's less than the $375,000 check. So basically, that last check that we got from the Water Authority for that MWD lawsuit allowed us to help the customers by delaying the rate increase by 2 months. And I'll say one more thing before we turn it over to the board. Not to belittle the numbers, but our bill's going up by $4.64 a month to a typical single-family customer. The Tier 2 water is at $5.21. So a customer, if they really wanted to keep their bill down, just by saving 1 unit of water per month, they will offset the increase that is coming their way. So we always encourage people to cut back and conserve water. It's probably more important now when you're facing rate increases too.
And one other thing I wanted to add in discussing the MWD refund, it reminded me that there's some agencies that did not refund the MWD refund to their customers. They withheld it within their reserve balance. So what they're doing is they're using that money to offset any potential rate increases. So it artificially kind of lowers their current rates for a period of 2 to 5 years. So I mentioned this before. So what happens after that money is gone, they'll not only have to increase their rates by the X percent, they'll have to increase it by the X percent plus what they're using to subsidize their rates right now. One agency, it's about $1.40 a month. Another one, it's 9 cents per unit. So they'll have to increase it at 9 cents plus whatever their normal increase is. So if they weren't using that money to offset and they refunded it to the customers like us, the average bill would probably be about probably about 50 cents more. And some of these agencies would be a little bit higher on the bar chart.
Yeah, I've got a question, Mike. I think most agencies didn't do what we did, is that correct? As far as direct rebates to the customer?
We were one of the few that did direct rebates to the customers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Correct.
thanks.
And I would say, Mike, if you can go back one slide, go back one more.
To
the comparison, yeah, this one. This is something to be proud of. I mean, when you look at the management of our resources, we have the single highest imported water cost because of our desal cost. Desal is closing in on $3,500 an acre foot, makes up 25% of our water supplies. For us to be able to be the third lowest in the county is amazing. So congratulations to all of to the board and staff for doing what we can to keep the rates as low as possible.
It's amazing that the two agencies taking
What-
desal are at the bottom of the table.
Question, what's our normal water rate? Not the desal, but the regular rate, 1,100 and something?
Oh, no, it's
about 18 to 19.
yeah, it's about 1,800. Yeah,
18?
It's closing
About
in on-
19,
Yeah.
close to 1,900
Okay, thank you.
per acre foot.
I've got a question.
Yes.
I think I ask this every year, but on the sewer rates, when do you project that we might need to take a look at raising sewer rates?
Yeah, we'll probably be looking at it this year, but I think either in the next year or the year after, we'll probably be.
Is that mainly driven by the schedule of capital projects that need to be done? The magnitude of some of those big projects?
That's part of it, and part of it just time caught up with us, right? For a period of time, we were able to absorb cost increases. Sewer, for the benefit, is we're not getting these big increases like the Water Authority is really the driver for our water rate increases. We don't have that corresponding driver on the wastewater side. So we've been able to keep those pretty level, which is good. We have healthy reserves. And I think it's been 7 years. I think the entire time I've been here, we haven't changed the wastewater rates.
It's been a long time. Thank you.
And
Any other questions?
Question here.
Yes.
So I understand this happened before and it's just approval tonight. My question is, is it possible to allow people to opt in to auto bill and allow some of this rate to be offset, assuming that would save us money from mailing out per bill?
That sounds like a great tactical plan initiative. We could look into that. We could try to figure out what does it cost us to have a customer that doesn't auto pay, right?
Yeah.
Is there certain charges, mailing and paying to print the bill and send it out and all that? What costs are avoided and how do we share those avoided costs with the people that helped us avoid those costs? Yeah, certainly something we're willing to look into.
Great.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions?
This is an ordinance, so we will need a roll call, a vote.
Yes. Do I need a motion for that?
Yes, you will.
I need a motion to entertain the increase of the water rates.
And that's for the effective date of March 1?
March 1.
That's what we're.
March 1.
That's what's proposed, correct.
I'll move to adopt the resolution.
And a second?
Second?
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Point of order, Mr. President?
Yep. Question?
I'd like to amend the motion.
Yes. An amendment?
I would like to amend the motion to postpone the adoption of the new rates until June the 30th. I'm asking for that because I'm hearing a lot from my
Could you turn your mic on, please, so we get on record?
I'd like to amend the motion to adopt the new rates June the 30th. I'm hearing from a lot of constituents that they are really struggling with their SDG&E bills. A lot of people are really struggling with that. While that has technically nothing to do with us, we are also a public utility. And I believe that we have the opportunity to, if we do delay the implementation, we give folks a little bit of a breather so that they can plan. We do have the $375,000 that we can use to offset. It is still a delay. It is still money that we would need to pay from reserves. But I'm thinking about our ratepayers that are struggling under another public utility right now, and I don't want to be lumped into SDG&E's bad PR. And I think it would be good for the ratepayers. So that's why I'm proposing to amend the motion to adopt these rates, move it to June 30th rather than March the 31st.
Just for point of order, we treat it as a substitute motion.
Okay,
that
thank you.
if it gets a second, would be considered prior to the initial motion.
Okay.
Substitute motion.
Or were you requesting that the initiator of the motion amend their motion? Or are you making a substitute motion?
It sounds to me like I'm making a substitute motion.
Okay.
Substitute motion goes first.
It needs a second.
Yes,
And
that's
if it gets
correct.
seconded, it
Is
would be
there a
voted on
second
first.
to the substitute motion?
Just, can you bring up that one slide again where it showed the cost to delay?
It's up.
It's not.
It's not up.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to get out of the vote now.
Just, you can just give us, what's the cost of delay to, or you have it there?
818,000.
818 if we
A
delay
delay till
June.
June 1 implementation would take $818,000.
But if you subtract the 375, it's 443.
But we've already subtracted 375, I think. Right?
No. So could
We've
you say
already used
again?
that to offset. My
Well, our plan was to use that $375,000 to cover the shortfall by delaying it until March 1st. So it would cost an extra, well, the difference between 818,000 and the 289 is, what, 530,000 roughly. It'd be $530,000 hit to the reserves, more than adopting it on March.
But we have 375,000 that we can apply to draw that down even further.
Correct.
The difference between March and June is about $500,000.
Yes.
No, it's about 500,000. Right?
530,000, yeah.
Very good. There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion? Seeing none? Yep.
So, sorry, I have a substitute for the substitute. If we could move it to
Well,
April.
You have to allow the one first
Okay,
to die.
sorry.
So
I
clear
apologize.
the decks, and then you can do another substitute.
So, seeing no second, the substitute motion.
Hold on.
Oh.
I'll second it for the purposes of having a vote. I don't want to deny anybody a vote. So.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to extend the implementation of our water rates until June 1st, creating a net $530,000 reduction from our reserve. All right, very good.
Is this roll call vote, though?
Roll call vote.
Yeah, so not electronic vote, does that have to be a verbal roll call?
Oh,
It's a
are
roll
we
call
roll
vote.
call verbally or electronically?
Same vote.
It is the same?
I'll read it out.
Okay.
I would need to see how they vote though.
So on the substitute motion of Board Director Boyd Hodgson, seconded by Board Director Elletharp, to approve the water ordinance taking effect June 1st, motion fails, 3 noes, 1 yes, 1 abstain.
All right. Now then, entertain a motion to implement the rate increase to March 1st.
April.
Is there,
Tape.
To
Did we-
April 1st. The
No,
substitute.
no, you haven't got a substitute.
Okay.
You're back to the original motion unless
we're
there's.
back to the original motion?
Okay.
Unless,
I would like to propose a substitute motion in the spirit of Director Boyd Hodgson's great idea. I also feel for the ratepayers, perhaps a in-between to April 1st would be appropriate. I've seen that SDGE's rates are coming down significantly this month, and it creates a large enough buffer, in my personal opinion, but would like to propose a 1-month buffer additional. For
and
consideration.
that's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And discussion? I do have,
Can I get the numbers on that as well?
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. What's the net number?
Yeah, it's 432,000. The addition from the previous, the original motion is $143,000
$143,000.
approximately.
Very good.
There's the numbers right.
Is that gonna be an oral vote, Anthony?
Yes.
And so what's the net effect of applying the?
143.
Well, so I think your question is what's the difference between the 432 and the amount of the rebate?
Yeah.
Okay,
$57,000.
50, yeah, thank you. So $57,000 more than what we got from the Water Authority, it would cost us.
Okay, thank you.
To clarify, that's $53,000 more than the amount that we got as our check, which would be an additional draw on our reserves for $54,000 plus or minus.
57,000.
57,000.
Right.
All right?
On the substitute motion by Director Grosset, seconded by Director Boyd Hodgson, to approve the water rate ordinance effective April 1, motion passes, 4 yeses, 1 no.
Can you record for the record the yeses, just it's roll call?
Director Pennick, yes. Director Boyd Hodgson, yes. Director Elletharp, yes. Director Grosset, yes. Board President Hernandez, no.
Very good. All right. Done. Anything further? Moving on to reports. General Manager.
Yeah, just 3 quick items. So one, you remember we had a water main break on Rancho Santa Fe Road at, I forget the name of the cross street, but south of San Marcos Boulevard. Repairs fixed, that's great. We got all the service back connected. Temporary paving was put in place, and we're in the process of working with a contractor to do the final paving out there. So that'll be happening in the next couple of days, maybe within the next week. Tomorrow? Okay, it's tomorrow. Yeah, right. Second one I want to bring up, we had our latest intern start. Evan Fox started yesterday, I believe. So another intern. Intern program is going very well. So at some point in time, hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him. And the last thing I want to bring up is we're going to be doing some repairs to the ceiling in the boardroom. We're going to try to schedule so basically replacing those ceiling tiles. We're going to try to work around the board schedule, but it would be hard to work around all the meetings that take place in here. So I'm going to make a recommendation that all the committee meetings meet up in the conference room upstairs during the period of time that we're doing this, and we'll make sure that the contractor has the room ready for board functions. And then at some point in time, we'll be bringing an item forward to the policy committee to see if we want to go back to conducting all committee meetings in the location of choice of the committee themselves. So just to let you know that we'll temporarily be doing committee meetings elsewhere, and there may be some excuse our dust during board meetings, but we'll do the best we can to minimize that. So that's all I have.
Very good. Legal counsel.
Just a couple of items. I know this, you may have heard this at some point, probably yesterday, but today was the official announcement on the Art Littleworth Aqua Scholarship that is being issued every year in conjunction with Aqua. It's $10,000 a year for a high school or freshman student who is from a diverse or underrepresented background. It's going to be an annual scholarship of $10,000, and then that person would get $2,500 per year, and this is the first year for it. So if you have people who are interested in water law, water career, etc., let them know, and I'll send the form to Glenn, and he can send it out to all of you, Aqua's announcement regarding that. The CSDA dinner, California Special Districts Association, its dinner is going to be on February 16th at the Butcher Shop. Amy Abrams from Grossmont Healthcare is going to be there talking about the next normal of San Diego County under the healthcare post-pandemic. And then I just thought I'd flag for President Hernandez and GM Pruitt, SB 6, which is the new middle-class housing bill, which may be of significance to us because it overrides a city's effect of properties within a commercial zone, and that may affect us if we're doing multifamily or mixed use. So I know there was an issue over potentially changing the plan, et cetera, so that may apply. And the other one is the AB 2334, which is the density bonus housing law, and which gives us additional density bonus because our property's near transit. So those are.
Is there a percentage that they put with that bill?
I don't recall the percentage, Jim. It has housing, it has height limits that it allows you to go up. I think it's 33 feet and additional density bonus, particularly for low income housing components.
Is that grant money?
It's not grant money. This is kind of an override. So historically, there's been an issue with cities in terms of where you place affordable housing. And so the state has
So overrides
override,
the
yeah.
city.
Right.
It's an override.
They're planning.
Yes. Glenn?
I just have one more item I forgot, so if you guys are done with that, just. I don't wanna-
Yeah, I think presently it's I think it's a 10%. I think it's going to obviously increase to some other number. So, very good.
So one other GM report, and I apologize. I wanted to direct your attention to item 4.2, the upcoming meetings. So I'm going to ask you all to look at those. There's 3 listed: the annual Water Reuse Symposium, the WEF Lower Colorado River Tour, and the Aqua Spring Conference. If you want to go, get in touch with Ann as soon as possible, Ann or Anthony, because these reservations and the hotel rooms go out super fast in this post-COVID environment. The middle one, the WEF Tour, they're actually sold out already, but they're taking a waiting list. So if you're interested, let us know. We'll get your name on the waiting list. We're not sure when the next one is, but for the annual Water Reuse and Aqua one, please get back to Ann or Anthony as soon as possible. Thank you.
So on that note, do you mind, is now a good time just to ask a question about that? I mean, we get these all the time. Is there a way to utilize our funds? I mean, just so we're all not going to the same one, and that maybe if one of us go to one, and a recommendation is, I think this would be good for a board member on this committee. would be great. I don't know when is a good time to talk about that. But I look at them and I go, I don't know which ones to go to.
Yeah.
Is that something that we talk individually
Yeah,
about?
I would suggest if you have concerns, reach out to me and I can help give you information as to which ones may be most beneficial for you.
And then 3 board members going to one and none going to another. I mean, ideally, it seems like at least one representative to go to each one of these and we report back, would seem the most prudent way to use our funds.
Yeah, that's above my pay grade, and you guys would have to decide that yourselves. But if you wanted to add an item to a future agenda to discuss. Yeah, the policy committee may want to scrub that and then bring it to the board for modifications, like no more than X number of directors shall be able to attend the same conference.
And I don't know if I
That
want to
think
put a limit on it, but just what would be, I mean, maybe if it is beneficial for all of us to go to one or one to go and report back. It's just, they're costly, I know.
Yeah.
The registration cost, the travel cost. But, I mean, should we have representation in Washington and in Atlanta? I mean, just to get some information.
Yeah, and if the policy committee and Director Boyd Hodgson is still the chair, so if you're interested, we can throw an item on the next, I don't know, I can't remember if we can get on the next one or the one after that, we can start to discuss this, if you'd like. Okay,
We'll discuss putting it on the agenda.
all right.
Thank you.
Very good. Water Authority?
Okay, the Water Authority had their regular January meeting last week on the 26th. I did not attend, however. I attended, speaking of conferences, I attended the CASA Winter Conference in Palm Springs. The reason I did that was because the board agenda was very routine. There really weren't any items of note that I really wanted to talk about anyway, so that's why I went to the CASA conference. But anyway, I think one thing of note, with the November general election and with some retirements, there's been turnover of 7 board directors out of the 36, which is pretty significant. So a lot of people trying to get up to speed, and I don't think they usually see that many turnover. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, the other item I want to report on was that I've been named vice chair of the Engineering and Operations Committee for the Water Authority for the next 2 years. So I'm looking forward to performing those duties.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats, yes. Encina Wastewater Authority.
Go ahead.
We had our meeting the other day. Primarily, we're still on virtual. Holy mackerel. I think we get 1 more month, and then they throw us off. And I'm happy to hear that. Committee meetings were primarily the main discussion, who's on the meetings, when the meetings are, and I don't know, anything else of importance, Jim?
No, just that there's 10, it's a 10 board, there's 10 members on the board and 5 of us are new. So
Yeah,
half
so-
of them are new, so they are gonna have some training.
So we'll stand by and see how our in-person meetings take place. Standing committees? Any standing committees? All right, directors' reports on meetings and conferences?
I don't know, 3 of us attended
Yeah.
CASA, I keep saying CASA, because I don't know, but, no, I don't have a lot to report because I forgot all my notes, but it just seemed like some keywords there where they talked a lot about PFAS and how that's gonna be a future, it's gonna be something we really need to look forward to in the future as far as PFAS and things like that. Talked a lot about EV vehicles and future of those and how we need to convert from gas to electric vehicles, and is there a succession plan or is there a plan in place? And I was just impressed. I mean, it seems like we do need to have, and I'm impressed with CASA, I'm impressed with CSDA and Aqua and the representation that they give our industries at the, the state, local, and the national level. Met some people from Denmark, it was really nice. So even as a worldwide, I mean, it's an important issue, and I appreciate the representation and that we participate and we support, us going to these things, as well as just the lobbying that it goes on at those levels. It's important, and there's a lot of things going on. And I don't know how we can keep track of them, to be honest with you. You just gotta keep going and supporting. But that's the only thing that stuck out to me. I know all of us were, some of us were there, but just PFAS kept coming up and the EVs.
Yeah, I'll just add, the keynote speaker on Thursday was Bob Bocock. He's a leading consultant in the polyfluorinated compounds issue, which is PFAS, PFOA, PFOS, and like the dozens of other variations. But it was a pretty sobering presentation. I didn't realize the pervasiveness of these are forever compounds. One statistic that frightened me, and it's frightened, honestly, the regulators, is that the half-life of compounds in the human body is kind of what they measure one contaminant against another. And kind of the traditional contaminants from petrochemical, like benzene and toluene and things like that, the half-life in the human body is a matter of hours. It's like 72 hours. And he indicated the half-life of these polyfluorinated compounds are 9.5 years, just to give you a perspective of the difference. And they don't break down. Every drop of rain that falls globally, anywhere in the world, is detected for PFAS now. It's very, very sobering. Every one of us has it in our blood. They don't know the health ramifications yet, but they're essentially working toward a maximum contaminant level of 0. And they can't measure down below 1 part per trillion. We're talking nanograms per liter, parts per trillion. It went from about 400 as an action level down to 70, and now essentially to 0. The regulators are talking about a MCL of 0.004 parts per trillion. So that's like 4 parts per quadrillion.
This is EPA that you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's progress.
Yeah.
The EPA having a standard measurement is
Yes,
progress.
it is.
5 years ago, they didn't have one. So that's progress.
And I think the most frightening thing for me is what scared the regulators so much is the suppression of immune response with vaccines due to these polyfluorinated chemicals. So, scares me to death thinking about the next pandemic and how these contaminants affect that. So, sorry for the bad news.
On a balancing note, I looked it up. Parts per trillion is 30 seconds in a million years. That's a pretty teeny bit. And because it is so pervasive and it continues, water into the ground, into the soil, into the plants, into the animals, into the products, milk is one of the ones they used, it just continues to circulate. So we're all going to die of something, so at least they'll be able to quantify that.
Above all, they promise that they're not going to go after us water and wastewater agencies. They're going after the manufacturers.
Yeah.
DuPont and Dow and all the biggies.
But it was interesting. Go ahead.
The largest firefighting union just
Yeah.
decided that they are going to try to eradicate their firefighting foam from PFAS. That's been a long-standing issue.
It's in cosmetics, makeup.
Anything
They've
slippery.
just outlawed it in that arena. And
Yeah.
so they're outlawing them as fast as possible.
But it was interesting because later on in the conference, because I attended it as well, I went to the biosolids. Craig Kastner, been involved. He's the chairman of the subcommittee. He kind of contradicted some of the things that Bob was saying relative to, it's everywhere. He said, the studies that they've had in Michigan, Wisconsin, those areas, but it's apparently not everywhere, but it's everywhere. So that's coming along. Let's see. Recruitment and retention, that was a very good meeting, and I see that we're already at least a step ahead. They are suggesting you do videos for your recruitment. So, and I hear today we're going to be talking about one so that it does give an applicant an idea of what's going on. So they're saying that in the next 5 years, there's going to be 30% of our workforce retiring. So that's a big number. Cybersecurity was another topic. I was less impressed with that. It was like a 1-hour commercial. This company identified cyber attacks, ransomware, and they apparently have a product that will come in and survey and tell you what your risks are and perhaps a way to modify that. But all in all, it was a good conference. We can talk about who can go and who should go. I don't think we've had I don't think we've had 5 people go to a conference in years. So it may be a little concerning, not concerning, but maybe not too much to worry about. But that was my report. Any others to report? I will mention though, however, Eric, that these, the Water Foundation, these particular outings, very informative. Both sides of an issue, discussed all over the place, and some of our bigger issues, you know, the Delta is a big one, viewing the Colorado. I've been on them all. I was on the Delta twice, and it's interesting how that's changed over 10 years. Still fighting the local people against everybody else. But if you have a chance, put that on your calendar. And, well, for you, Tiffany, they're very, very informative.
Thank you for the.
For the whole board, actually. Let's see where we're at here. Meetings, director's comments, future agenda items?
I have a suggestion.
Yes?
And I believe that we decided that we needed a second before something would be put on an agenda. Yesterday was the deadline for the 7 states to adopt the redux, the part number 2 of the Colorado River, the compact, and that deadline came and went. And I would like for us to discuss that because it's all over the news, and that's what people are seeing and they're asking. So I'd like to have a better understanding of what that means for our ratepayers. You know, we'll know more by the next board meeting what the federal government is going to do. So I would appreciate that being on a future agenda.
And I think we had a policy that to need more than 1 board member. I would also like to hear from that, so please find it on the agenda. All right?
Yeah, and just a
Yes.
suggestion on that, maybe we could have Sandra Curl come.
Yeah,
Or somebody from the Water Authority.
All right. Anything further? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Jim.